How you doing? I'm your host, Tony Prince. Hey guys, back at you guys. And again, gonna be talking about Crawford Spence fight. I don't know if you guys heard the latest news, but as I'm going through the internet today, so I'm listening to Blue Blood Sports. And Blue Blood was saying how Crawford was telling Earl Spence to take less money. That's one of the stupidest things he could even come out of his mouth. Earl Spence earned the right to make as much money as they are offering Earl Spence. Earl Spence, 3 titles. Okay. Earl Spence, the number one welterweight. Earl Spence just been dominating the welterweight division. So for Crawford to come in and only have 1 title and to sit back and tell Earl Spence to take less money, basically trying to say Earl Spence don't believe in his abilities. Earl Spence earned the right of passage, and you don't have the right to take that away from him. Just because you haven't gotten to that level yet, Crawford, you need to get to that level. If you could beat Spence, then you'll be at that level. Maybe an even higher level. Maybe you might get elevated to Mayweather status if you beat him. But that word, that 2-letter word, IF, is a very, very big word. Okay, there's a lot that's going on here with this, and this is why the negotiations is taking so long, is because of we have idiotic statements coming out of Terence Crawford's mouth, like telling Spence to take less money. That makes absolutely no sense. If I go get a job and I'm making a 6-figure income because I applied at the job and I have the education to go with the job and I have all the skills and the tools of the trade, why would I go in and say, hey, okay, the job's gonna pay me 85,000. I tell them, no, give me 45,000. Does that make any sense? No, nobody would take less money. I mean, so why should Spence take less money because Crawford said so? Who is Crawford? Terence Crawford is a fighter just like Earl Spence is. For him to sit back and say that, again, that's idiotic and it's just plain stupid. You know, I don't know if Crawford's got that slave mentality still, but to say something like that in a fight is ridiculous. Take what you get. If you could beat him, beat him. It's just that simple. Okay. And then maybe the next time you'll get elevated to the next level. Okay. It's not Spence's fault that they're not offering you more money because your pay-per-view draws are not that great of a numbers. Okay. So that's not Spence's fault. So if anybody should be just sitting back and just taking what they should get, it should be you, Crawford. I understand that, yes, yeah, you're a fighter, and yes, if you lose or if you get hurt and all these other things, but you didn't think about that before when you was on top, winning on at the lower weight class. None of that came up. Why is it coming up now? He should take less money so we can make this fight happen. That don't make any sense. Don't make no sense. We're not talking Mayweather money here. Okay, we're not talking the gross of $150 million. We're not talking that. The numbers that we're talking here are very, very low numbers for both fighters. So why would Spence take less money? Doesn't make any sense to me. Well, anyway, I'm gonna play you guys this video here from Blue Blood Sports. You can hear it out of the horse's mouth itself. So go ahead, folks. Let's watch this video here, right here. I just don't understand this sort of mentality.
Undefeated, 3-division world champion, former junior welterweight, undisputed world champion, currently reigning WBO, World Boxing Organization welterweight world champion, was widely considered by many to be the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. And Terence Bud Crawford, 38 wins, no loss, no draw, 29 big wins by way of knockout, 34 years of age, 5'8", with a 74-inch arm reach, negotiating a big fight, the biggest fight in the sport of boxing. Massive undisputed showdown between himself and undefeated unified 3-belt WBC, WBA, IBF, Great Magazine, welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, who is widely considered by many to be top 2, if not the number 1 best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. And Earl the True Smith Jr., 28 wins, no loss, no draw, 22 big wins by way of knockout, 32 years of age, 5'9.5" with a 72-inch arm. With that said, they are in negotiations to stage the biggest fight in the sport of boxing. Okay, and Showtime president of sports, Stephen Espinosa, who is going to showcase this fight on Showtime, he stated that the fight is about 70 to 80% done in negotiations, and then he stated that everybody just has to be realistic in their bargaining, their asking prices. Okay, and a video surfaced of Terrence Crawford doing an interview discussing negotiations with Errol Spence, and it didn't age well, okay, because in this interview, Terrence Crawford is saying, if you believe in yourself and you're confident in your abilities, then you would take whatever split there is. I would take whatever split there is to make the fight happen because I'm confident in my abilities. So he's saying that in the part of Errol Spence is not confident in his abilities because he would take whatever it takes. He would do whatever it takes as far as splits go to make the fight happen. But he himself is not willing to do whatever it takes to take whatever split to make the fight happen. So listen what Terrence Crawford had to say.
You think that he's protected himself and protected his record, protected that zero, and that's why he doesn't want to step in there because he knows what type of guy you are?
A little bit. Some believe it. A little bit. But at the same time, I just think like, he's thinking the big picture. Like, if I take a chance like this, I need to be getting paid as much money as possible, just in case if I lose. He's talking about he want to fight this guy and fight this guy, so he's going to be the A side. He don't want a 50-50 fight. Well, that just lets you know right now he's not 100% confident in the whole ability. He can say what he wants. The casual fans can say what they want. But me, if I'm confident in my abilities, I'm like, okay, we can do it. It don't matter if it's 50-50 or not. I know I'm going to win, so I don't have nothing to lose.
You think he's
So you heard what he said. It don't matter if it's 50-50 or not. I'm confident in my abilities, right? And he stated that, Errol Spence is not confident in his abilities, and he's worried about the old. So he stated that he feel like he's going to lose. That's why he's asking for the biggest numbers possible. Well, that didn't age well because isn't that what Terrence Crawford is doing right now? He's looking for the biggest number possible to secure this fight, the biggest fight in the sport of boxing. He's looking to get the most money he possibly can. So he's saying he's looking to get the biggest money. Errol Spence is looking to get the most money he possibly can because he wants to secure his future because he's not confident he's going to win. So essentially, he wants to be compensated for his loss. So right now, Team Crawford has stated that the fight hasn't been signed and agreed to because the money's not right over there. And this is Terrence Crawford that was saying it had to be a 50-50 split in order for him to fight Errol Spence, to agree to fight Errol Spence. It couldn't be a 60-40 split in favor of Errol Spence. Well, if you were daring to be great, like he said, he was daring to be great, and he would take a less split because he's confident in his ability. Now, like I said, I don't have a problem with Terrence Crawford looking for, as much money as he possibly can get from the biggest fight in the sport of boxing because the networks, the promoters, the managers, they're going to secure as much money as they possibly can. So why shouldn't he secure that amount of money as he possibly can? And Terrence Crawford, by the time this fight comes to fruition, he'll be 35 years of age. So why shouldn't Terrence Crawford look to secure as much money as possible and going into the biggest fight when he knows he's aware that this is the biggest fight in the sport of boxing, right? And you know how much money is going to circulate outside of, you and Errol Spence when it comes to the promoters, when it comes to Showtime, when it comes to the venue, when it comes to the managers. You know how much money is going to circulate, and nobody's getting in there and risking it all but Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. So I have no problem with him. If the reports hold to be true, and he's looking for $20, $25, or $30 million to stage this fight. Okay, well, I have no problem with that because if that, how much do you think Showtime is? How much do you think the Vegas is going to garner? How much money do you think the promoter is going to make off of this fight? They're going to make massive amount of money, and not near one of them is going to take a punch. Only two people will take punches. Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. Only two people is risking it all. Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. So I have zero problem with Terence Crawford looking to garner as much money as possible. As his team stated, the reason that the fight wasn't signed is because the money is not right over there. Right? If the money was right, he would have signed. So that means he's looking to get as much money as possible. But he's saying that if Errol Spence was truly confident in his abilities, he would go ahead and it wouldn't matter what split he takes. So why does it matter what split he takes? He stated that if it's not 50-50, there ain't no fight. The fight was in his rearview mirror. Well, if you're true to what you stated, then, and what you said in this interview.
When the quality of your internet connection.
He's protecting himself and protecting his record, protecting that zero, and that's why he doesn't want to step in there because he knows what type of guy you are.
A little bit. That has something to do with it a little bit, but at the same time, I just think like, you know, he thinking the big picture. Like, if I take a chance like this, I need to be getting paid as much money as possible, just in case if I lose. He's talking about he want to fight this guy or fight this guy, so he's going to be the A side. You know, he don't want a 50-50 fight. Well, that just lets you know right now he's not 100% confident in his own abilities. You know, he can say what he wants. The casual fans can say what they want, but me, you know, if I'm confident in my abilities, I'm like, okay, we can do it. You know, it don't matter if it's 50-50 or not. I want to win, so I don't have nothing to lose.
You think?
So there you have it. So now.
Okay, folks. There you go. You. There you go, folks. Here you go. You just heard that, right? Okay. So again, you know, to me, I think it's stupid. Okay, and here's why it's stupid. Because number one, okay, the rite of passage is you get in there and you beat all of the top welterweights, and you become the champion. You wind up with 3 titles, right? So he has a rite of passage, and the passage is he's basically cleared out the division, and the only other welterweight that's really there is Terence Crawford, okay? So basically, because Errol Spence really cleared that whole division out basically on his own, because Terence Crawford really hasn't fought as a welterweight. Was he had 2, maybe 3 fights as a welterweight? Okay, so he really hasn't done a whole lot with clearing out the division. Errol Spence did that. So Errol Spence deserves as much money as his draw. Okay. If he's selling over 300,000 pay-per-views, then yes, that's how he gets paid. This is business. Okay. This is not your average, just, you know, Joe Blow dealing drugs and all this other stuff on the street. That's that mentality that what I'm getting here. Okay. The mentality when it comes to business is who could put the asses in the seats. And that is Errol Spence. Terence Crawford has already shown that his pay-per-view draws are far, far less, no matter how good of a talent he is. Okay. That is the bottom line. Okay. No business purpose is going to risk anything on a guy that is not going to put asses in the seat. They can only give him what he can do. If he can only put 100,000 people in the seat, then that's all the money that he's going to be able to make, period. If this guy over here is putting 500,000 pay-per-views and putting asses in the seat, then that's what he gets. It's just that simple. This ain't rocket science. This is business, okay? And when it comes to business, the most important thing is how much money can be made on the fights. And no one else is going to take a lesser cut because of one guy cannot put asses in the seat. Okay? Now, some of you guys don't know business. Some of you guys don't care about business. All you care about is just the fact that it's Terence Crawford. So a lot of you casual fans are going to be all upset and all this other stuff because of what I'm saying. But I could care less. The bottom line to it is when you have a business, okay? I'll use a better analogy. When you get a credit card, nobody gives you a $100,000 credit card right from the beginning as soon as you apply for it. Why? Because your job, okay, it is how much money you bring in. And then when they start tallying up all your bills and everything else, then they base your credit on that. So it's the same exact thing when it comes to boxing. The numbers and stuff is just a little bit different, but larger, okay? So if all you can get is a $3,000 credit card because of what you do for a living, you can make $65,000 for a living, but you got outrageous bills, then all you're going to get is $3,000. You got to work your way up. Well, it's the same thing with Crawford, okay? Crawford, you can't put asses in the seat on pay-per-views. So since you can't do that, all they can offer you is what you give them. So the best thing for you to do, Crawford, is to bow out of this fight 2 more fights, maybe fight Keith Thurman, Jaron Ennis, put hands on him, beat him, then go back and see if you can fight Errol Spence if it's not too late, okay? If you want a 50-50 split. I said it before, and I'm going to say it again. You might have gotten a 50-50 split if you would have went after Ugas first before Errol Spence did, okay? Because now both of you guys have 2 titles. You got something to work with, okay? But guess what? You didn't do that. That's on you, Crawford. So the bottom line to it is this. I'm not talking about anything else but what the dumbness I heard come out of Crawford's mouth. And then Crawford turns around and said he don't care if it's a 50-50 split or not. Then, you know, hey, I'll still fight. Well, how come you haven't signed the contract yet? That's the question I have. How come you haven't signed the contract so that this fight can go on? Boxing fans wants to see a great fight, a memorable fight. And if you and Errol Spence want to be a part of history, then you both have to agree on something. If your numbers is not good as his numbers, bro, you come on now. Even Sugar Ray Leonard and Marvin Hagler, I don't think they got a 50-50 split. I mean, come on now. Let's look at this now. What is boxing for? So it's okay for the champion, the number 1 guy, to get $2 million, and you jump in there and you get $2 million too, even though your numbers is not that great. Come on, man. That don't make no sense, man. It makes no sense. And you haven't put asses in the seat, but this guy's done all the work. Come on, man. I mean, come on. That's all nonsense to me. That is nonsense. You have to be fair about it. If you can't put asses in the seat, you deserve only what numbers you put in the seat. Will this fight be an outrageous draw? Absolutely, it would be an outrageous draw. But guess what? They won't know that until the fight happens, till after the fight happens. That's when they're going to know that. There's no possible way to know how many people is really going to watch this fight, okay? Especially when you have people that's out there that's streaming for free, doing illegal stuff, okay? That's part of the problem also. So the bottom line to it is this. Look, if you don't think that, you know, that, it's ridiculous. That's the best thing I can say. It's the ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Crawford, you need to bow out of the fight. Let it go. Fight Boots Ennis, fight Keith Thurman, then go after Spence. Okay? If you want to build your pay-per-view record, that's what you need to do, bro. Because as of right now, this fight ain't even gonna happen because of money issues. It's not gonna happen. Okay? Again, all you have to look at is a person's basically is what he has done, okay, when it comes to putting people in the seats. Sean Porter was Terence Crawford's biggest draw when he fought. Errol Spence, he could do 1 fight and he beat all of Terence Crawford's numbers all put together. So again, I don't understand why in the world should Crawford get more money and he can't put asses in the seats. That don't make any sense to me. Okay, why? You're gonna say, oh, because it's Crawford, because what he did when he was 140 pounds. Well, you got to let that go too. He's not 140 pounds. He's 147 pounds. Yes, he was the undisputed lightweight, the guy in the lightweight division. He's in a new division now. Okay, He's still got to prove himself. He hasn't proven himself. Okay, if he beats Errol Spence, then he's already proven himself. Okay, the only way to do this is to sign the contract and fight. That's it. If you don't want to take it because the money ain't there, then there's more for you to do. It's just that simple. Don't make no sense to me to even hear that. I mean, it's called negotiations. That's what it's called. Negotiate. Okay? There's nothing wrong with a 55-45 split. Okay? And you get some money guaranteed on the back end. Okay? There's nothing wrong with that. Okay? All right? The question is, you said he's trying to protect his O. Well, what about you, Crawford? You're not trying to protect your O? You doing everything you can to get more money. Okay, and Blue Blood Sports said he don't see nothing wrong with that. But when it comes to the numbers, there's a lot wrong with it. Okay, because no business person, okay, is going to take a chance on anyone that can't put asses in the seats. That's just plain, that's just downright, that's just simple. That's common sense right there. Okay, that's all that is. All right. Now, this is nothing against Terence Crawford, okay? And it's not favoring Errol Spence in any kind of way. Okay, this is the business side of boxing politics. Okay? They control the money. Again, they control the money. Whether it's Showtime, whether it's PBC, Golden Boy, Top Rank, these are the guys that control the money. And there's not much that you can do about that, period. That's it. Not much you can do about it. If you're putting asses in the seat, then you can make 15, 20 million, maybe $30 million. If you're putting asses in the seat, okay? If you're not putting asses in the seat, then of course they can only give you what you're worth, okay? What kind of stock have you built up? That's the question. What kind of stock have you built up in the welterweight division? One title holder, WBO title holder. All your other stock was invested in the lightweight division. Yes, you're on the pound for pound list, Crawford. Okay, give you that. But your stock as a welterweight is one title. Errol Spence cleaned out the division, 3 titles, putting asses in the seats on the pay-per-view numbers. The numbers do not lie, folks, okay? Regardless of what any of you guys say. And as Blue Blood would say, facts. So the bottom line to this is it comes down to the money, okay? And no business person is going to give you more than you are worth, period. Okay? It's just not going to happen, man. It's just not going to happen. Okay? I have an online business. But on my online business, if I go apply for a loan, they're going to look at me and say, let me see your financial records. Let's see how much money you bringing in. Then we could discuss what we could give you. It's not one of those things of it's automatically a 50-50 split because it's Terence Crawford of who this person is. No, that ain't got nothing to do with it. They want to see financial records and how much money I'm bringing in before they give me money. They want to make sure I can pay money back. I could do this. There's a whole lot that goes into it. It's the same thing when it comes to the numbers in boxing. Most of you don't understand it because maybe some of you guys didn't go to school or less education. I don't know. But I'm just joking with that anyway. But the bottom line is this. It's numbers, okay? It's the business side and it's the politics of boxing, period. That's it, you know? All right, guys. Now, I don't hope you guys don't think I was saying anybody was stupid. I'm not. I'm just joking around when I said that, you know. But yeah, you got to understand the numbers. And it's a shame that Crawford hasn't put as many people in the seats as Errol Spence did. And Terence Crawford is supposed to be, according to all of you guys and all the top-notch, quote-unquote, boxing experts and all this stuff, you know, saying how, you know, Roy Jones Jr., Tarver, all these guys saying, oh, no, Crawford's this, Crawford's that. But Crawford's not putting asses in the seats. I mean, you know, but yet, so as a big talent he is, He's not putting asses in the seat. What's wrong with this picture, y'all? There's something wrong with it, okay? There's something wrong with it. Anybody that is a great talent is going to put asses in the seat. That's all I'm saying, okay? That's all I'm saying. Earl Spence, look at Earl Spence. Everybody look at Earl Spence, and they say Earl Spence is methodical. He's one dimension. He's this, but Earl Spence is putting asses in the seat. Crawford's not putting asses in the seat, but Crawford's a better fighter than Earl Spence. What's going on here? What's going on? Okay, we got some of the guys saying this, and we got some of the guys saying that. I mean, come on, guys. The numbers do not lie. Okay, it does not lie. Now, if the two fight, who could beat who? You know, I already told you guys which way I'm rocking. All right, I already told you that. Okay, so I'm rocking towards Spence, and it's based upon Spence's pressure, not giving Crawford an opportunity to breathe. Crawford want to got that get back dog mentality. I want to get back at you. Okay. All right. And Earl Spence, to me, is just a better all-around fighter. Okay. Earl Spence hasn't showed you everything that's in his game yet. But I guarantee you, if this fight happens, we'll see Earl Spence. A lot of people said, oh, we didn't see the old Earl Spence, this and that. One thing I can tell you guys, whenever you have a near-death experience and you come out of it and you survive it, it makes you that much stronger. Okay? Earl Spence had a near-death experience. He almost lost his eye, and the man is still fighting. And he is destroying everybody. Okay? Years ago, going back several years ago, I had cancer. Okay? And I'm looking at you guys right now, and I'm talking to you. Right now, I'm still talking to you. Why? Okay, I was one of the guys that beat the cancer. Trust me, when you have a near-death experience, you reevaluate everything in your life. You don't take things for granted like a lot of us do. We take things for granted, okay? So that part I could tell you, I know a near-death experience and you survive it, it completely changes the way you think, the way you see things, everything. And it's going to make a huge, huge difference in this fight. Now, yes, I know Crawford got shot in the head and he had a near-death experience also. Okay, I understand that. I know he had that. Yeah, something happened, whatever it is. I don't know the whole story, but I did hear about it. Okay, so the bottom line is to this: these two guys are similar, but not the same. Somebody is going to lose this fight. I see one fighter moving on. I see the other fighter retiring. I'm not going to tell you who I know is going to retire, but you'll find out if the fight happens. I can guarantee you that. Okay. If the fight happens, if the fight don't happen, then I expect to see Crawford fight some other welterweight. That's what I expect him to see. If the fight doesn't happen, I expect Earl Spence to, if he's going to get a fight, I expect his next guy on the list would be Keith Thurman. That's what I would expect, which would be, hey, just as good as a fight than Crawford. Okay, now I don't know what Keith Thurman's numbers are, but I do know Keith Thurman is another fighter that put asses in the seat. I do know that, but I do believe Thurman's numbers is better than Crawford's numbers. So that's a fight right there that can happen. That's an excellent fight. That's an excellent fight. What was that? Oh, you said, yeah, but Crawford will beat Thurman. They didn't fight. So you don't know that. It's simple, okay? I would love to see Thurman and Crawford go at it, okay? I would love to see Boots and Crawford go at it. But Boots is after the big fish, which is Earl Spence, because Earl Spence is the money man. He's the cash cow. Okay, if he's the cash cow, how can Crawford just come up and just say, hey, man, you take less money. You do whatever it takes. That don't make any sense. It makes no sense whatsoever on any side of it, whether it's the most dangerous fight for you or not. It doesn't make any sense because you're not the cash cow. The cash cow is Errol Spence Jr., the #1 welterweight in the world, the top dog in the world. And I don't understand how everybody's saying Crawford is #1 and Spence has tore through the whole division. But Crawford's the #1 guy. How's Crawford the #1 guy? Spence tore through the division, all 3 titles. And no one can sit back and say what I'm telling you is not true. This is all facts. Spence did it. Crawford beat Horn. He got a title. I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed. What Crawford did as a lightweight, I was impressed. I was impressed. But as a welterweight, I'm not impressed with Crawford right now. I'm not impressed with him at all as a welterweight. When was the last time we saw him fight? Sean Porter, that was it? Come on now. Come on. You know, Spence has been fighting. Okay? It's been a minute before Spence fought. Okay, yeah. But, you know, Spence has been fighting. You know what I mean? He's been fighting pretty regular. So, you know, I mean, you know, look, I just hope that people could just come to terms and look, if the fight happens, then the fight happens. If the fight don't happen, let's move on. Because I'm getting tired of hearing all the talk here and hearing all the talk here. Crawford said this, Crawford said that, but ain't no contract signed yet. If you're not going to take the fight, don't take the fight. Bow out and say, okay, no, it's not enough money. Move on. Go your separate ways. It's just that simple. Because then Spence could say, okay, this dude ain't for real. Let me move on up to 154 and go up there and unify up there. Okay? Because I'll be honest with you, if I was Spence, I would turn around and just say to him, look, here's the contract. If you don't like the numbers, don't sign the contract. If you want to fight and we put it all on the line, sign the contract. It's just that simple. That's exactly what I would tell him. Because Crawford, Spence is taking just as much of a chance as you are. And all you have, both of you guys, if you make it to the second round, that first round, you have 3 minutes to be great. Period. Whoever makes the most mistakes is going to lose this fight. Whoever makes the most mistakes is going to lose this fight. Now, the other question is, can Crawford take that relentless pressure that Spence is going to bring with that relentless body attack? Can Crawford get to mid-range and stay mid-range, being able to breathe and start using his fast little his hand speed? Can he do it? We won't know until the fight happens. All we could do is sit here and speculate, and we could just talk about it and debate and say, no, this guy's going to win. No, that guy's going to win. But I'm going to cut right to the chase. The fighter that makes the most mistakes will lose the fight. Simple. Just that simple. Okay? Crawford, if I were you, you might want to negotiate on the ring if you can't get the money. You might want to get the biggest ring that you can so that you could keep that space to make it an even more intriguing of a fight, if that makes any sense to you. Okay? Get yourself the biggest ring you can. Because you know they're different size rings. That's what you should be negotiating. Okay, the money side of it is cool too, but if you can't get the money side, you got to put everything in your favor that you could win the fight. That's when the true negotiations come up. If you can't get the money side, well, let me get a large ring so I have the opportunity and I can have the space that I need to get away from some of this stuff. Okay, but the question is, would Spence catch up with you? That's the question. So, again, I'm not going to stay on here long. I've been on here about 30, 35 minutes doing this. It's a pre-recorded. So, if you guys like this sort of content, go ahead, like, hate, subscribe, okay? And just to let you know, Boxing Profiles, we are not only on social media, we are also a actual television station where you can go to Boxing Profiles and you'll be able to watch movies there. You'll be able to do subscriptions-based movies. And we're currently now working on getting pay-per-view, okay? That's something that I'll bring up a little bit later. But right now, just want to put it out there. We also are a marketing channel. We like to help athletes. It doesn't matter if you're a boxing athlete, if you're a track athlete, a football player, tennis player, it doesn't matter. If you're an athlete, we are looking to market you. That's what we're doing at Boxing Profiles. And you can contact me at boxingprofilestv.com. That's how you can contact me. Okay. My name is Tony Prince, and, we will be back at you guys real soon. And again, Crawford fans, no disrespect to Crawford. You can only get what you're worth. That's it. This is a dog-eat-dog world. You can only get what you are worth. Okay? If you didn't go to college and you're only making $25,000, $30,000, that's on you because you didn't go to college. You see your buddy, he went to college, he come out, he's making $75,000, $80,000, $95,000, $100,000, and you're like, man, we do the same job, but I get paid this and he get paid that. It's because of he put in more work than you. Okay, does that make sense? It's the same thing with Spence and Crawford. Spence has put in all the work. That's why his numbers is higher than Crawford's. Yes, Crawford, you did work in the lightweight division, but you didn't put asses in the seat. Spence has. Would this fight put asses in the seat? Absolutely. But they don't know how much money is going to be generated until after the fight or the night of the fight. Period. Period. That's it. They can only go by your worth. And your worth is whatever pay-per-view numbers you did with Sean Porter. You could total them all up if you want to. That's your worth. Period. That's just the way it is. Okay? I didn't make the rule. That's business. Some people saying, I don't like that. Well, guess what? That's why you're not that business person. Okay? So that's the bottom line to that. All right? Again, I'm going to say it one more time. When you apply for a credit card, they look at everything. Okay? How much money are you making? If you're making $65,000 a year, but you have, let's say you got $7,000 in bills that's coming out. Okay? And you got yourself a house that you're paying for. How much credit you think they're going to give you? It's not going to be a lot. Maybe what? $3,000? $3,000 is what they're going to give you? And that's what you have to work with? And then you have to build it from there. Okay? That's the spot Crawford is sitting in right now. Even though Crawford is pound for pound number one, WBO welterweight champion, undisputed lightweight champion, and currently other titles. I mean, I'm not going to name all that sort of stuff, okay? But this is where he's sitting. But his pay-per-view numbers is low. So it's not my fault. It's not the boxing fans' fault. It's just what Crawford did. I don't know why. Maybe there's something wasn't being done on the marketing side of Crawford. I have no idea. But in order to get the pay-per-view numbers up, the man needs to market himself more. He needs to market himself more. We need to see more from Crawford. Okay. We also need to see more from Errol Spence. Okay. Well, anyway, that's enough of that conversation. So boxing, I'm going to say this again, and I'm going to keep saying it until something gets done about it. Boxing needs to up their game. All you promoters that are out there, you need to up your game. If you want boxing to be the #1 sport, then we need to make boxing great again. We need Tuesday night fights, Friday night fights. We need more than 3 fights on a pay-per-view. We need to bring boxing back to national television. We need to do that. Boxing is the pastime. It's just like apple pie. It's American. We need to bring that back so boxing fans can see great up and coming talent. I remember when I was growing up, I used to watch fights from the Blue Horizon. I saw all kinds of talent based out of Philadelphia. All kinds of talent was coming through there. And if you wanted to see some of the best fights, you go back and look at some of the fights from the Blue Horizon. Some of the biggest guys, the names that was out there went through there. So we need to bring back Friday night fights. And I'm not talking about on ESPN with something that you gotta pay for. I'm talking free TV is what I'm talking. Free TV. MMA is on free TV. That's why the sport is thriving. The last pay-per-view I saw for MMA, the free part of it started at 3 o'clock. And by the time they got to the pay-per-view part, which was like 6 o'clock, and it didn't end to 10 o'clock. So it was an all-day event. And I saw on free TV a lot of great MMA fighters. Boxing. If you want to become the #1 sport again, then we need to get back to putting fights on television for free. Up and coming fighters. Some of the best fights that you will see. Nothing wrong with pay-per-view. In fact, this will strengthen boxing if a promoter does this. Because then you have even more challengers fighting the top guys. All right, guys, that's all I got for you. This is Boxing Profiles. I'll catch you guys in a minute. And I'll just tell you like this. Keep punching. Don't get punch drunk. Peace. I'm out.